Happy MLK Day. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but haven't subscribed yet, come on, join us. We are close to 9,500 subscribers now, getting close to 10,000. Be great if we could do it during the season. Also, hit the thumbs up button for me, drop your comments, and share the video, because this is the best, most realistic, and comprehensive recaps for the Knicks anywhere you can find. So I hope you can continue to watch these and we can expand the family here. Well, today was a very important game. I was calling it a must-win type of game for the psychology of the fans. Now, you might wonder, does that really ultimately matter if the players ignore the fans? You know, 30 years ago, I would say, yes, you're right. You know, because really the few interactions they had with fans were at the Garden or on the road or through reporters. That was pretty much it. Now, with social media and the internet, it's hard to avoid that resounding, pounding consciousness that fans devote to the internet and on social media. Their feelings and thoughts are amplified continuously. Look what I'm doing right now. I'm just a fan myself. Thousands of people are going to watch this video. They're either going to agree with me, disagree with me, or it'll create a new conversation, and that does eventually reach the players. I know they try not to, and it does eventually reach the actual team itself. By the team itself, I'm talking about Leon and company. If the Knicks had lost this game in the fashion that they had lost to the Hawks previously, things might have gotten really, really scary. The cool thing is, it didn't go that way. The other really cool thing is, we saw a New York team wake up in that second half and actually get stops when they needed them. That has been the absolute key aspect that this team has not been able to achieve consistently. At times, there have been moments at times, and there's been times where they get a stop, but because of some fluky thing, ball bounces off an elbow and it goes to the opponent and they hit a three. Actually happened again today. Played some great defense, shut the Hawks down on this one possession. The ball went all the way around the horn, and they fought for the loose ball, got it back to Trey, and he buried a three. So that's just part of the way it is sometimes with this team. But today, it was a completely different story. The New York Knicks outscored the Hawks by 17 in that second half. And even though at one time the Knicks were the best third quarter team in the NBA, I don't think they are anymore, especially considering how they've been playing of late. But today, we saw them have a beautiful third quarter. And then the fourth quarter carried in. And we saw something very special today. Tom Thibodeau went to a 9-man rotation in the first quarter. I think that is the first time we've seen that all season. Now, I believe he did kind of have to plan for that ahead of time because they play again tomorrow. They don't travel. They just go over to Brooklyn to play the Nets, but it's still another game on a back-to-back, even though this game was an afternoon match, 3 p.m. start at MSG. Tomorrow night, it'll be a 7 or 7:30 start or whatever it is. So they'll have a full day in between. However, not in between, just full 24 hours to recover from the end of this game to the beginning of the next. It's still a back-to-back. And these are still the most played starters in the NBA. So I think Thibs probably was planning on that. Now, the beautiful result of that was the bench responded in a very convincing fashion. In fact, the two highest plus-minus players on the Knicks today were both from the bench. Miles Deuce McBride and Cam Payne, I believe they were both a plus 15 in their minutes of play. So it just shows that there is a bench on this team. There really is a bench. You just have to give them some time to find their continuity themselves. And the other thing you got to remember about bench players, you know, they have to blend in. So sometimes they're sharing the floor with OG for an extended period, or sometimes it's Hart and Mikal, and sometimes it's with Towns. So it's, you know, it's that part of chemistry. It takes time to work it through over time. finally, we're seeing, hopefully this is the beginning of a good new trend here, because those legs need to be preserved. I do have highlights for you guys. I got stats breakdowns. I got everything, but we're going to look at one thing first. We're going to look at this play. Oh, no, not that play. This play. When Karl Anthony Towns locks down Trae Young defensively. And let me tell you, this little clip, which is SNY Knicks picked up from New York Basketball, there was a few seconds before this where Towns had already been on Trae, and he finally clamped him down. Now, Trae was definitely foul baiting right there. He was just trying to get him up in the air, but look at that. He stayed on his tippy toes. He did close the space, but he didn't cross over into Trae Young's space, so he did not commit the foul, and Trae Young ended up committing the turnover. Fantastic. This is the kind of play we've been waiting to see from every Knick that we have. We're starting to see it. We saw some great defense from Mikal Bridges on Trae Young today, and Mikal exploded in that second half as well. I think he delivered 26 points himself. Let's go back to. I could just watch that all day. Man, 119-110. Beautiful. I tweeted this out before today's game. The Atlanta Hawks were a combined 6-1 versus Boston, Cleveland, and us. Now they are 6-2 after losing to the Knicks 119-110 on MLK Day at MSG. So make no mistake, this is a high-quality win. High-quality win. Atlanta's not elite. They're not an elite team. But they have been able to beat elite teams. They even beat Cleveland twice in a row this season. They are, I think they're 2-1 against Boston. The only other loss was to Boston. So they had beaten us twice. They beat each team twice. But today would have been 3. They would have. But now Knicks are 1-2 against them. There is one more game that will happen in Atlanta. Hopefully we'll take care of business there and even the season series. But this is just to show you guys that this was a very important win. This is a win that you can feel very good about and proud about, especially when you consider that Karl Anthony Towns did look rusty. He took a couple games off because of the hand injury that he sustained against the Pistons. And he just didn't quite have it. I think he was 1 for 6 from the three-point line, though the 3 that he hit was a big 3 at that moment. So it is important not only to get key stops when you need them, but to get key buckets when you need them. And he hit a very, very important bucket. I believe that was in the late third, early fourth, maybe. He did. Oh, yeah, he had the three-pointer. It got the lead up to 110-100. It got the lead up to 10 points, which was, I think, the biggest lead the Knicks had all night. So this is a good win. Outstanding. And we look at the Eastern Conference standings right now, because I couldn't bear to look at them the past couple of games, especially after losing to the Timberwolves. Boy, that was a disturbing loss. So this is equally as it's just like the opposite. Such a great palate cleanser after that disturbing loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where the Knicks just took care of business against the Hawks, the Timberwolves, who have been on a roll of late, especially against quality teams. They've taken care of Milwaukee. They did lose to Milwaukee once, but I think they're up to 2-1 against Milwaukee as well, who are right below us in 4th. Indiana has been coming on of late. Atlanta is in 6th place. They're in the playoff picture, even with this loss. So they were 22-19 before coming into this game. Orlando has slipped, which we kind of felt that they would do. You can only run on fumes for so long in terms of missing players. Once Jalen Suggs also went down, even when they got Paolo back, it's still difficult to keep that winning momentum going, especially when teams are starting to really focus on getting some big victories, especially on their home courts. And then we got Miami in 8th, Detroit in 9th, and the Bulls in 10th. Sixers seem to be out of it. Who knows what can happen? But the New York Knicks sit there nice and pretty in 3rd place. 1 win behind the Celtics, 3 losses behind the Celtics. Which turns out to be a 2 games total. They're 28-16. They have the same record at home as they do away. So the mark of a great team is a team that can win consistently on the road. But you also have to be able to hold your home court like the way the Cavaliers are doing. 21-2 for the Cavs. Outstanding there. So the Knicks need to have that more home court pride. That was really my whole attitude after that Timberwolves loss. Where is your home court pride? Well, they showed it today. Beautifully done. I think this was a fantastic response to what has been happening of late. Beautiful. Knicks Muse tweets this out. Now, just mind you, he had 9 turnovers, not 10 in this game. Trae Young is now 7-15 versus Knicks in his career. He had 10 turnovers, really 9, and shot 36% today, field goal in today's loss. So this whole mythology that has been built up of Trae Young being a Knick killer is utter total garbage. Absolute garbage. He's 7-15 against us. Now, I don't believe that counts the playoffs, that one playoff series. He's basically the quote, the Knick killer because our number one at the time didn't show up. That's just the reality of what happened. Randall was MIA in that series. In fact, he was terrible in that series. And Trae Young wasn't for them. So they beat us. Now, they did make a run. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals, so they definitely had a good squad that year. But so did we. Now, this guy is no longer can classify himself as the king of Broadway. In fact, he should take those shoes and send them to Jalen Brunson. He should gold plate them, put a plaque underneath, and say, Jalen Brunson, king of Broadway. He should basically refuse the title, the self-given title, by the way, that he gave himself. Not that I'm a big Trae Young hater. In fact, I loved Trae Young in college. I did. It's just, as a pro, he's just not a good winner. You know, he's kind of petty about it. And definitely not a good loser either. But someone who is neither, who is a class act winning or losing no matter what, Jalen Brunson tonight, the captain, 34.6 assists. He shot 66.7% from the field. He shot 60% from 3 points today. So, and this is great because he has been struggling of late. Actually, all season, he's been kind of inconsistent from the three-point line. I believe he's starting to finally find his groove again. Hopefully, whatever ailments he had been experiencing, they're starting to fade. He's getting enough treatment. He did get an extra day off in between the previous game and this game. And then after the game in Brooklyn, I think they get 3 days off in between. So nice, a lot of time for them to rest up now. And then they play a couple more games, and then there's like the All-Star break. So this is a great period for this overworked starting unit to find their legs again, and for Thibs to trust his second unit so that he can keep them fresh for the remainder of the season. That's what we're looking for here. That is the main objective right now. Ian Begley tweeted this out to highlight Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges had 26 points and helped New York Knicks limit Trae Young to 8 for 22 shooting and 9 turnovers in a 9-point win. Knicks had lost 3 of 4 at home before today's win. Jalen Brunson, 34 points overall, 6 assists, and Bridges combined for 26 points in decisive third quarter. Those two dudes came out, and I mean, they really tipped the scales the other way. I was concerned at the halftime when we were down 8. I was worried because we were actually down only 3. We were actually down only 3 at one point. In fact, you can see it. Let's go right here. So we're down 3, and we're only about a minute and a half away from the end of the half. And then we proceed to give up a 3-pointer to Trae Young, a fast break 2-pointer for Jalen Johnson, and immediately a 3-point deficit ballooned up to 8 just at the end of the buzzer. So you felt like, that momentum, that stank of that momentum, is that going to motivate the Knicks to come out strong in that third quarter, or is that going to motivate the Hawks even further and use those young legs that they have to just run us out of the arena like they have done before? So it was very interesting. It was a very interesting moment at the time. Wasn't quite sure how they were going to react. And then we can look at the third quarter right here. You can see the Knicks won that third quarter by 13. They did allow 27 points to the Hawks, but we let them up for 40. And that was a combined 26 from Mikal and Jalen. But don't forget, Josh Hart had 10 points in that third quarter as well. So that's 36 points for the Nova boys right there. 36 points in that third quarter alone for the Nova boys. And we out-rebounded them 15-6 then. So we own that third quarter. We need to continue to establish ourselves as a great third quarter team once again and close out the fourth. Got to do that. That's obviously we can't win a game if you're not closing out fourths in a dominating fashion or a consistent fashion. All right, let's get back to here. And here we have, so I tweeted this out. This was something interesting I picked up during the game. We're actually seeing an in-game adjustment by Thibs. Knicks are exploiting Quinn Snyder, the coach of Hawks, decision to guard Mikal Bridges with Trae Young. A consistent matchup exploitation by New York has been a rarity this season. Once in a while, we see it with Cat. He's like begging for the ball when he's got a small guy on or whatever. But Cat gets the ball anyway, so you can't really consider that being exploiting a mismatch because we're going to look for him anyway. Same with Brunson. But we're talking about the other three guys, Hart, Mikal, and OG. We never adjust to start feeding those guys, even when they're hot. Today was a totally different story, and we benefited in that third quarter tremendously when Mikal only missed one shot out of 7 attempts in that third quarter and picked up, he got a steal, he got an assist and a rebound, 14 points plus 11 for him in that third quarter. All right, Tommy Beer tweeted this out. Today was the first time all season 9 different Knicks played more than 9 minutes in a non-blowout. The Knicks won both the third and fourth quarters versus Atlanta this afternoon. New York outscored Atlanta by 17 points in the second half. Nice. And so we talked about the third quarter where Trae Young he scored 5 points in that third quarter. He was pretty efficient, 2 for 4, but only 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Only had 1 assist in that third quarter, but then the fourth quarter was completely abysmal for him. 1 for 8. The one make was in garbage time. 3 turnovers, 2 fouls, 1 technical, clutch time ice tray. Yeah, to get that guy to commit 9 turnovers in a game is truly some great defense. The Knicks were using the length, and what I loved about what Mikal Bridges was doing is he chose to fight through screens, to fight through contact, to stick with the offensive player in this game. Most of the time it was Trae that he was doing it. And then in turn, that forced the opponents to play a little bit more aggressive in setting screens, and then we got called for offensive fouls. And the other beautiful part of it was it kind of like it woke Mikal up by feeling that presence on his body. It kind of woke him up on the offensive end. Dude, it's like, I have a feeling, and I was talking about this with JD, I think it's not a conscious thing with Mikal. I think one of the weird negatives that grow out of being an Iron Man is you learn how to survive. You learn how to make it from, the first jump to the final buzzer and do it again the next day, the next game, and play all 82 games, 83 games some season. But what happens is, I think he has just a self-regulating automatic mode where he doesn't quite fight over those screens every single time, where he doesn't rise up and focus every time he's going to shoot that 3 or drive to the hoop or make that pass. He did make 5 turnovers today, so he does lose a little focus when it comes to passing. I think most of those passes he was just trying a little too hard to make the finer play. But I think that's what it is. I think it's self-preservation. It's like instinctual in him, but at the same time, that's not how it works when you're trying to go for a championship. This is it, man. If you can rise your level of play to another level this season, at least for the final 40 games, 39 games of this season and into the playoffs, something really special and magical could happen here for the New York Knicks. It really does ride mostly on your shoulders. You are the X factor for this team because Josh Hart is going to be Josh Hart every night. He was relentless today. He was outstanding in terms of his activity out on the court, just fighting for rebounds, trying to get makes in transition. He was fabulous. The Knicks took advantage of the Hawks in transition today, and it benefited them tremendously. They got a lot of easy-ish buckets that way. OG, we know what OG's going to be. He's going to be a tremendously consistent defender. His offense is going to ebb and flow, but his size alone and his basketball IQ alone, he's always going to deliver. I mean, 19 times out of 20, he's going to deliver pretty much a very similar performance in terms of his output defensively on the court. Then Cat's going to be a beast offensively. Defensively, I see him improving marginally here and there, which is nice. Marginal improvements, I'll take them. Brunson, he has been a liability somewhat defensively. He always has been. He gets hunted, but I like the way that he has adjusted by trying to do a lot of help defense, come around the blind side of the offensive player and try to swipe the ball away from him. So those things are all positive, moving in direction, but Mikal is the X factor, no doubt. Then Tommy also tweeted this out. Trae Young had more turnovers, 9, than made field goals or assists. Did he keep that same energy and pretend to roll dice after this game? Rolled a 1, 2, 3 in this time. LOL. All right. And then Josh Hart, I was mentioning to you before, New York Basketball tweeted this out. Josh Hart, as Knicks beat Atlanta on MLK Day, 14 points for him, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Excellent game for him. Let's get to the highlights. All right, so the Knicks started off a little slow. They were down 8-2 right away. Then Towns drove to the hoop there, deliver a needed bucket. The Knicks fought back. I think we were once down. We were down about 6 and 8 for a long period of this first quarter. Started getting it together towards the close of that quarter. Ended up down 27-26. The shooting was outstanding for both teams. Hawks shot 8 of 16. Knicks shot 11 of 22. So that's like tremendous. They shot 3 of 5 from the 3-point line. We were 4 of 7. So you would think we would be up by like 8 or something just looking at those numbers. But they went to the free throw line 11 times in that first quarter. The foul calling was horrifically inconsistent once again. It's just tiring to have to keep repeating these same things over and over again. There were definitely times where, and you heard Mike Breen say it in the broadcast, players look confused. They don't know what is a real foul and what is incidental contact because it's not consistently called. And that's just a fact. But Brunson started off that first quarter beautifully. He was he scored 8 points, hit 2 of 2 from the 3-point line. Campaign came in once again, gave us a nice jolt. Same for Miles McBride. He was a +7. The entire bench was a +7. Shamet, entire bench pretty much was a +7 in that first quarter. Here we are rolling into the second quarter, where this is the quarter again that Knicks kind of fell asleep once again. After the bench unit, okay, sorry about that. After the bench unit came in, get that alert. It's kind of funny. After the bench unit came in and gave the Knicks a nice little boost, they kind of lost steam as the starters came back in. Look at that play. Beautiful. Now, we even had the lead. Look right here. We had a 3-point lead at this point with 7:25 left. I think this turns into a 5-point lead. There we go. 41-36. But some turnovers. And then it was tied up with about 5 minutes left. That's a nice dunk. Towns' passing today was just phenomenal. He had 2 dimes. That was one of them in that second quarter. The guy who really gave us points was Brunson. He kept us alive in that second quarter. He was 4 of 6, so he delivered 11 points. And who else? So Bridges. Bridges was 4 of 5 in the second quarter in his 9 minutes of play. Deuce almost got that hand just a half second too slow right there. Here comes Deucey. A beautiful block by Johnson. Johnson, non-factor in this game. And he has been a Knick killer this season. This season, he has been a Knick killer. But today, he only scored 11 points. He was 4 of 12 overall, did not even attempt a three-point shot. Did pick up 12 rebounds and 4 assists, but committed 2 turnovers. He finished a minus 13, Jalen Johnson. So you know that when Knicks are winning the Jalen Johnson minutes, the Knicks are going to win this game. The Knicks are playing some good basketball. Beautiful shot there by Mikal. So here comes the third quarter. So we started off, we were down 8, and immediately came in and basically got this game tied up and then took the lead. Here, by the 8-minute mark, the Knicks were up. I believe this turns into a nice bucket for them. Okongwu's a good player. I like him. He's been, I think today was his first start. Another 3. Trey started off hot from 3, but he finished 6 of 12 overall, 50%. I mean, without the 3-point shooting from him, though DeAndre Hunter also, once again, the other Knick killer. Like the Hawks seem to have just a roster of Knicks killers, but today they were rendered obsolete, irrelevant. Let's put it that way. Even though DeAndre played 30 minutes, shot 50% overall, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line, finished with 22 points. In the plus-minus, he was just a +1. So you would think with that tremendous amount of production that they would be able to have a bigger lead during the times that he was on the floor. Like with Okongwu, in his 29 minutes of play, he was 7 of 10, 14 points, 9 rebounds. They were a +8 when he was on the court. He was the high man in plus-minus for the Hawks. Then the fourth quarter rolled around. After a tremendous third quarter from the Knicks won it by 13. That fourth quarter, the Knicks were able to continue the same flow that they had going, that they had begun in the third quarter, roll that into the fourth, and they won that one by 4. Thibs did go 9 men deep in that fourth quarter, but that was because it was a little bit of no, that was a legit 9 men deep. Precious only played 3 minutes in that fourth quarter. Interesting. Thought he played more. The scoring was pretty balanced in that fourth quarter. 4 points for OG, 5 points for Cat, 4 points for Bridges, 3 points for Jalen, and then Deuce and Precious both had a bucket, 4 points for Campaign. Even Landry Shamet hit a free throw. So all Knicks except for Josh Hart in that fourth quarter, who played 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. Josh Hart's the only Knick that played in the fourth quarter that didn't score. But man, he got a big steal. Always with the rebounds. Oh, here comes Mikal. Oh, no. There we go. I think this turns into a fast break. Yeah. So they were up by 10. I think that was after the Cat 3-pointer. But then, beautiful inbounds play right there. Mikal was almost like he almost was a little too heavy with the touch off the glass, but he did get it in. So here we're up 9. Jalen Johnson rolls over Jalen Brunson. That probably should have been an offensive foul call. And here comes, look at this play. Look at that hustle. Even though it turns into a score, look how much effort that they have to use up to try and score. It's a nice little pick here. Boom, boom. Hits the clean 3. Mikal Bridges. That was a big bucket right there. Every bucket is big. I mean, it's just the reality here. Every bucket is big at this point. Oh, yeah. Called a foul, and Dyson Daniels did foul out of the game. Dyson Daniels this was another great adjustment by the Knicks. I think this was a heading into the game adjustment, and it was, let's get Dyson Daniels into foul trouble early. And they did it. He ended up fouling out. In the first quarter, he picked up 2 fouls right away. And then by the end of the half, he had 3 fouls, and boom. Then he gets another 3 fouls in the second half, fouled out. Let's say that was a tighter game even, with just like 2 minutes left or so, that would be instrumental getting basically, I mean, the guy's defensive player of the year right now. It's between him and Wemby. Now Wemby's got the height and all this stuff, but what Dyson Daniels is doing is just incredibly unique right now in terms of deflections and steals. It's like up there, record books type stuff. And plus he's got to guard Jalen Brunson, best point guard in the East. So in that respect, that was a brilliant adjustment. That was something I don't really even understand why we didn't try to do that in the previous games. These are the kind of things the Knicks are going to have to start doing on a strategic basis, game in, game out, depending on the opponent they have. They have to seek out the overhelps. They have to and punish them. They have to run the offense through Cat and basically try and get. Now Cat was off tonight offensively, and it did require basically just going with Brunson is the one who led the team in terms of running the offense through him. But look at this. Cat had 7 assists tonight. 7 assists, 9 rebounds. Using him as the focal point for your offense is brilliant, because also he can see over the defense, and his ability to see cutters even before they even start making the cut. It's amazing. Honestly, it's up there with elite type level of court vision. I'm really, really impressed by that. The one thing that is a negative about Towns is when he decides to drive, he rarely kicks it out. Also, but he's such a big man. He develops so much momentum going towards the hoop, trying to adjust and give a delicate little pass to a cutter. It's difficult to do, and he doesn't even attempt to do it that often. He goes right through. Luckily, when he makes it, it's great. When he misses, it's terrible because he ends up behind the basket trying to get that big body up, and as the play is already racing to the other end. Something has to be worked out about that. But either way, running the offense through him is fantastic. But the beauty is we have Brunson as well. So that 2-man game, we have to lean into that. We have been, but we have to get even better with that. And OG and Mikal, those guys can feed off of it, and Josh Hart as well. Even though Josh Hart did finish with 14 points today, you saw he didn't score at all in the fourth quarter. So that was all first 3 quarters that he did that. But in the first, I have noticed that he does he's a little too passive offensively at beginnings of games. Yeah, and he might take that Thibs mantra a little too much to heart, which is let the game come to you. Sometimes you have to kind of like coax the game to come to you. You know what I mean? Got to romance it a little bit. And you got to be a little bit more assertive offensively. But we know that when that switch turns on, he can get you 3-4 buckets like right away, and on fast breaks, and pick up fouls. And I love that. The pressure he puts on the defense, outstanding. This was a very good game overall for the Knicks. Actually, let's just keep going on here. Almost done. This is turning into a long one. But had a lot to talk about. As I mentioned, the plus-minus campaign, plus 15, Deuce, plus 15, plus 4 for Precious, plus 11 for Towns. Wonderful. The Hawks, Trae Young with 27 tonight. All 5 starters for them in double figures. They had 7 players in double figures. DeAndre Hunter, once again, punishing the Knicks, 22 points, but it wasn't enough tonight. The Knicks won the rebound. Oh, no, actually, we lost the rebounding battle by 2, 41-39. But we won a crucial element here. Points conceded off turnovers. The Knicks were a plus 10 right there. That is the difference in the game, really. Beautiful. Well done right there. All right. Nice win. Very pleased with this. If we can pull off a win tomorrow, beautiful. Get back on track. These Knicks got to focus on getting W's every single time they're out on that court. They have to. This is it. They're now past the halfway point, and they have the All-Star game coming up, the break, so more rest is on its way. If Thibs begins to embrace, I want to see a 9-man rotation again tomorrow. Why not? Hey, let's see a 10-man. Let's see Huck Porty in there or Sims as well, along with the other 4 guys you played today. Why not? Let's do it. Let's get a nice resounding win at Barclays, and then settle down. And who do we play next? I'm not even sure who we play next. We play the Kings on Saturday. Kings on Saturday and the Grizzlies on Monday. Two good, and the Nuggets next Wednesday, the following Wednesday. So after this Nets game, 3 tough matches, but all of them at MSG. Let's rack up the W's. Let's take control of home court advantage. All right, thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button over here. Subscribe to me here. Hit the thumbs up button. Drop your comments. Share the video. Appreciate that. And I will see you around the Knicks-Verse.